I have a really great episode for you today, I think. This one is a little different because I didn't edit it at all. So there is some stuff in there that normally I would have taken out, like me fumbling with words, forgetting my questions. There's some awkward silences. I mention a lot more about myself than I think I ever have on this podcast. Like, I usually cut out anything we say about other podcasts just because it feels weird talking about people who don't know I exist. But I'm not doing this to be lazy. I just want to do this podcast as honest as possible. And this episode was super impactful for me, and all those spots were a part of it. Like, it felt like exactly what I needed this week, all the ugly spots and all. Kevin Palmieri is the host of the podcast Next Level University. They have over 1,800 episodes, and he talks to me about that journey. And as someone who was at the time recording their 6th episode, it was really cool to get his perspective on the specific challenges I'm facing while doing this. And a bunch of other stuff. I accidentally opened up to him about a lot of my own insecurities and stuff, and he offered some really awesome advices throughout the whole episode I've been chewing on ever since. I've been really lucky so far in this podcast in that every guest I've had has been amazing. So much so to a point that I have that guilty feeling that I'm not going to stay super connected with them. Like that feeling you get sometimes when you think about that friend you haven't seen in a long time for no reason other than you're busy. Like, you want to talk to them, but you're not going to go drive 4 hours to visit them, and it feels kind of weird to call them maybe, talk to them in a while. That feeling. I have that feeling about every guest I've talked to so far, and I think that's pretty cool. I know it's pretty possible to get shitty guests on these things and just have a really bad time, I guess. So I'm really lucky to have gotten to speak to the people I've gotten to speak to. I'm really lucky to have gotten to speak to Kevin, and I'm even more lucky that I get to share that conversation with you guys. You can find his podcast wherever you listen. It's Next Level University. And while you're there in your web browser, why don't you go check out my website as well? You can go to trevorjames.org, and there you can find everything that I have to offer, which isn't much, but it's all right there, easily accessible for you and your whole family. And now, without further ado, it's time to dive into this one-of-a-kind off-trail experience with Kevin Palmieri, unedited and raw. Oh, I'm not too bad. Been a busy week, but I'm glad to talk to you today, man.
Likewise, busy in a good way?
Yeah, always in a good way.
Good.
Always in a good way.
Like to hear.
Never done one of these this early, so, fucking...
Are you on the West Coast?
I'm kind of in the middle, Midwest.
Okay.
Colorado, so...
What is it, 9 for you?
Yeah. It's not that early, I guess, but just never done one this early. I'm still pretty new to the whole podcasting game, so...
It's all good. I'm excited. I think it's... I was doing my research. It seems like you have a very unique perspective and approach, and I'm always excited to experience that.
I try anyways, so
I
we'll
dig
see.
it, man.
Yeah. So I was checking out your podcast too, actually, and you got a lot of freaking episodes, man. That's kind of crazy, and you do one every single day.
7 days a week, yeah.
That's crazy to me because I'm finding out that this is a lot of work, man. It is a lot of work.
It is.
So,
now, again, we have a team now, so it's not like I'm doing the audio editing and video editing, but
that helps.
It definitely helps. Yeah, we started with 1, and then it was 2, and then it was like, all right, let's do 3, and eventually we were doing 6, and we said we might as well just do one every day. Like, what are we doing here? What are we waiting for? So,
right on.
Yeah.
Cool. So is the podcast like your main thing that you guys do then?
Yeah, it's weird. So that's a big piece of what we do, but below that, we have a Facebook group, and we have an email list, and we have a physical product, a journal that we have. We do one-on-one coaching, we do group coaching, we do speaking, we do events. So there's a ton beneath it, but all of it runs because of the podcast, essentially.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, you said you did a little bit of research about my podcast. Mostly, we just kind of, it's more of a conversation thing than a real interview. So just kind of bullshit. But I was curious, kind of, how long have you known your co-host for?
Oh man, I went to middle school with him.
Oh no shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then we went to high school together, and then he was the first guest on my podcast. I was the first guest on his YouTube channel. So I've known him, I don't know, 20.
That's cool.
5 years.
there's not a single person from my childhood that I want to talk to. So that's impressive. You know what I mean? So,
I do, Trevor. I do know what you mean.
well, well,
I
that's
got.
no. You go. Sorry, not to. You go. Not to interrupt.
Oh no, no, you're good. I was just saying. I think you froze on my end. If there was a delay, that was why. I just said I got lucky when it came to finding a really good business partner.
No, yeah, that's really cool, man. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. So, how did the podcast come about? How did you guys start doing that?
I So I was somebody who was never supposed to be successful, quote unquote. Ended up achieving success in my mid-20s, and the year that I made the most money, I got to the end of the year and said, like, there has to be more than this. This didn't fix any of the problems I thought it would fix. I thought I was going to be way different after I made all this money. Realized that for most of my life I had lived unconsciously. The opposite of unconscious was hyperconscious. So I started a podcast in 2017 called the Hyperconscious Podcast, where I
Okay.
just wanted to have cool ass conversations with cool people. That was it in the beginning. It wasn't
That's
supposed to be this.
that's what mine is right now. So that's
100%.
pretty cool.
That's why I always resonate when I get to meet podcasters that are doing it, just like have cool conversations with cool
Mhm.
people. I always resonate with that because that's why I started in the beginning. I never knew I was going to do it full time. I never knew we'd get to where we are today. I just wanted to talk
Oh,
into
that's
a
awesome.
microphone.
Hell yeah. Well, that's inspiring because, I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but it's a little disheartening sometimes. You know, I don't have that many
Of course.
viewers yet, but you know, we're getting there. So
Yeah.
but
I
that's
feel you, brother.
That's
I
inspiring
feel
to
you.
listen to, man. It's cool.
I
That's
appreciate it, man.
one reason I was excited to talk to you because, like I said, you have tons of episodes out there. You guys, you know, like you said, you're pretty successful in the podcast, so I've been kind of excited to just talk about that with you. So
Yeah, of
but
course.
Anyways, continue your story on how it got going.
I mean, that was really it. It was I was listening to Joe Rogan. I think everybody that's
Yeah,
Joe Rogan
that's
probably got more people into podcasting than anybody.
yeah. I
And
can agree
it
with
just
that.
made sense. It was like, yeah, let me see if I can do this podcasting thing. But in the beginning, I didn't have any strategy. I didn't really plan on doing it full time. That was never it. I would interview my friends. They'd come to my place.
How
We'd
long
go
ago do you
work
think?
out.
How long ago do
What's
you
that?
think that was that you started that first podcast?
2000. It was April. It was either March or April of 2017.
Oh shoot. Okay, so that wasn't even that long ago. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
My
A
the
lot can
pod
change.
Yeah, the podcast that got me into it was actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of Duncan Trussell. I like that guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that really got me into it. But then
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Rogan from there, and then Johnny Pemberton, and I mean, I like tons of podcasts, but I drive. For,
I had a
You go.
go ahead. No,
No,
you
you
go.
go.
I interrupted you.
I drive for a living, so I just got a lot of time to kill audio wise. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
only listen to so much music.
yeah. You get sick of it, right? You're a musician too, right?
Yeah, I'm in a band. I mean, I do my own solo stuff. I've always been into music. I play guitar and play bass in my band, but
Nice. What's the band called?
we're called Double Yellow Line. We don't. They have some stuff like on Spotify from the people they had before me, but we're just kind of now starting to write our originals and get our stuff going and all that. But keep an
That's
eye
cool.
out, I guess. But
That's
it's
cool.
gonna
That's
be.
cool
We're
stuff.
still at the beginning stages of kind of getting all the cool stuff going. So,
Yeah.
but anyways,
That's where the nostalgia's built in the beginning,
yeah, definitely. It's a blast.
right? It's like, yeah, it's fun. There's not as much pressure. You don't have to take it as seriously.
Yeah, I'm from a town of 2,000 people, so it was really hard for me to. I couldn't find a band there, so I moved to a bigger city, and it's fucking just now kind of starting to find a band. You know what I mean? But so that's
Where
pretty
were
cool.
you born and raised?
The town I'm from is called Rangeley, Colorado, and Meeker, Colorado. They're kind of like the same, but they're both 2,000 people. I mean, drive through it, you miss it. Everybody knows everybody. There's like one perspective, and it's the whole. It's not. That's another reason I wanted to start the podcast, is just kind of get some new perspectives around the world, man. Because with the internet now, you can talk to people. I talked to a guy from Portugal. That was pretty cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just cool to get some outside perspectives from the farmers that I grew up around. Nothing wrong with
I can
farmers,
imagine.
but
I can imagine the singular perspective makes it challenging for sure.
yeah. So, you said that you were somebody who wasn't meant to succeed. What does that mean? You weren't just. What do you think? Why do you think you weren't meant to succeed?
Yeah, very similar to kind of the way you framed it. I I was raised in a small town, not that small, not as small as you, but I didn't know my dad. I was raised by my mom and my grandmother, lower middle class. We didn't have a lot of money. And I never felt smart enough. I never felt good enough. So for most of my life, I just always assumed that I was going to be a loser. That was pretty much it. And then in high school, I decided that I didn't want to go to college because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And at the time, I was training. I wanted to fight mixed martial arts professionally. That was what I wanted to do when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to train to fight. You don't need a college degree.
Right.
So then I worked at a gas station, and then I worked at a hospital cleaning floors and bathrooms, and I delivered construction materials for a while, forklift operator, all these random jobs. And I was always just thinking to myself, I'm never going to find that thing. There's no way I ever find that thing. The job that I ended up getting that paid me a lot of money, I kind of got by accident. So even that reinforced the belief that if I'm not lucky, I'm screwed.
Right.
And that became kind of my paradigm for most of my life. So even this, do I know how we did it? Yeah, but there are days where I wake up. I had a moment yesterday, Trevor, where I was looking at my calendar and I was thinking to myself, it's so strange that I've lost sight of the fact that I can book a meeting anytime and any day of the week because I am my own boss. It doesn't matter. Oh, you want to reschedule to 3? Yeah, whatever. Cool. As long as I have an opening, I can do it. And it was just this really surreal moment of perspective for me. So even now, I try not to take that for granted because I realize statistically how rare it is to be able to live your dream. That's a really rare thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you had the job that you got all this money, and then you started the podcast like while you were still working the job, or did you quit the job to do the podcast?
I started the podcast in 2017. I was still working the job.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, I sat on the edge of a bed contemplating suicide because I was just so freaking miserable. Okay. Then I left my job a few months after that to do this full time.
Okay. So at that point, you think it was the job then that was making you so miserable then, huh?
It was a big piece of it. It was a lot of things. It was the fact that at that point, so the year previous, I had the body of my dreams because I was competing in a bodybuilding show. My girlfriend at the time was a model. I had a sports car. I had all the external things, and I thought that will make me happy. That will fix the internal voids. That'll make me feel better about myself, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Then my girlfriend ended up leaving me. I ended up becoming fairly broke because work got slow. Oh, shit. And then I was like, well, maybe I just haven't made enough money yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe I got to go from 5 figures to 6 figures. Maybe if I make 6 figures, that'll do it. That must be the mark there. So I think what happened was when I made the most money I'd ever made and I didn't feel any different, it kind of broke me. Okay. It was a heavy realization that you found all the keys, but none of these keys are opening the door that you thought was going to get opened. And it made me reevaluate everything. And then I started the podcast. I fell in love with podcasting. But as you know, in the beginning, there's not a line out the door of people saying, Trevor, how much money you need to do this full time, brother?
That's for
how
sure,
much?
Man. That's for
right?
Sure.
Here's a blank check. Do what you want with it.
It's a blast,
so
but it's work.
It's work, yeah. So I had to keep going to my job, and my job required a ton of travel because I was up and down the East Coast all the time. So I was just depressed. I was anxious. So it was really all of that. It was the fact that I had a heavy realization that this job isn't going to fix my problems the way I thought it was. And I didn't really have a plan B or a plan C. And the podcast seemed wildly improbable. There's no way I'm going to do this full time. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. I get that. No, I get that because that's kind of the position. I'm not quite that miserable, I guess. And I'm finding the more, like you said, the more money you make. I bought a house. That's pretty cool, I guess. But it's not, not that. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of why I started the podcast too. I'm like, fuck, there's just got to be more than just fucking doing this all day, every fucking day. Yeah. So I get it, man. That's cool.
It's so hard though. It's so hard though because it's like, here's the thing, and I tell people this all the time. yes, it's really cool that I quit my job and now I'm a full-time podcaster. But it's also wildly reckless to do that because the amount of pain and suffering I went through to get to
Yeah.
where I am today,
Yeah.
we call it the two trains. You have to have one train that pays the bills while you build the other train. And eventually it's, day job pays 100% of the bills, side hustle pays 0. Then it's day job pays 90%, side hustle pays 10, and then it's 80-20, 70-30. Eventually you get to the place where it's 50-50, and then you can start
That's
being more creative.
That's where you got to make that decision, right?
That's where you got to make the decision. Yeah.
So, this might be a stupid question. I don't know, but I just kind of curious. Doing a episode every day, what is it? And then still having time to come and do this with me. What does a day look like for you? What's like your average day?
I think it's a great question. So again, this isn't morning routine porn. I'm not telling you have to do your morning routine the way I do. This is just the way I like to. I get up at 6. I go out into the living room. I do my mobility and I listen to an audiobook for 20 minutes. Come into the office, batch emails, batch WhatsApp, make sure nothing's on fire, make sure everything's good. Go to the gym from 7:15 to 8:30. Come home, shower, feed the cats, back in the office, back office work from 10 to 11. And then essentially from 11 to 6, I am doing podcast episodes, coaching, speaking, being on other people's podcasts, business meetings, whatever it is. That's Monday through Friday. And then Saturday is the same morning routine, except it's predominantly just back office work, just
Right.
catching up on stuff, catching up on client stuff, catching up on stuff that needs to get done. And then Sunday is, I don't do anything front facing. I am starting to sleep in now on Sunday a little bit just to recoup. And then I spend the day with my wife. That's it. No work on Sundays.
That's cool. Yeah, you gotta have a day for the wife, man.
You need it. You need it.
Hell yeah. Mine's Friday. I don't do a thing on Friday except hang out with her.
I dig it. What do you drive? You drive a truck?
Yeah, I drive a semi truck. I don't know. It's not great because I don't get to do all. I like psychedelics and I like weed and I like all that stuff. I don't get to do any of that stuff, but it kind of sucks.
Yeah. That's dangerous. That's you get in
No,
trouble for that.
Yeah, I don't get. But it is what it is. Like I said, I make enough money to live and that's cool and all that, and I get to do this. But my hours are really really weird, so it's hard to find time to do this because, like I said, I start my job at midnight and then I go to about noon most days. So today's my day off. So
are you over the road or is it like a local route?
No, I'm home every day. It just I deliver bread, so the bread's gotta get there in the morning. That's just but
Interesting.
yeah, it's really not. It's it's terrible, but
well, it's interesting to me because I don't know anything about
fair
it.
enough, I guess. But
when I drive by a grocery store early in the morning and there's the bread truck sitting outside, it's like I think to myself, like, what's that like?
yeah, that's not
What
me.
was that?
I don't do that one. That's not me. Those are the
Oh,
guys
okay.
that I have to deliver to. That's why I have to be there so early, so they can be there. So yeah,
Interesting.
I just haul. Literally, I just haul to like big warehouses and then just dump it off. I wish I could go to the store sometimes. It'd be cool. I don't get to talk to nobody. That's another. I don't talk to anybody all day, dude. Like it's terrible. So
yeah, that's rough, man.
Listen to podcasts, and that's been it. But
That's
like,
rough.
yeah,
That's rough. You mentioned Duncan Trussell earlier.
yeah.
One of the podcasts that changed the way it broke something free in me. I was living by myself at the time. I was getting ready for bed one night and I was watching Duncan Trussell and Joe Rogan on YouTube. And they were talking about, I think they were talking about how strange is it that most of us just do shit we don't like all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I was like, whoa, wait. I've heard that a million times before, but today I hear it in a different way. That was something that inspired me to dream bigger that day.
That's cool. Yeah, it's cool to hear. That's why I like him, man. He explains things in just a way that make me go, "Oh my god, that actually makes sense." Like I've heard that so many times, but you just made it stick in my brain in a way it's another reason I'm here, man. Because that's cool. I haven't heard. Not a lot of people have heard. Everybody I ask about him, most people have heard of Joe Rogan, but maybe not so much Duncan Trussell. I guess he's getting pretty famous too, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely coming up. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he's kind of niched.
Neat. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. He's
You know?
because he talks about Buddhism a lot, so you got to really kind of relate to that, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
kind of
you got to
really
be down to ride with that stuff if you're
yeah.
and
In the
what he's
psychedelics.
big into psychedelics,
Yeah, the
right?
psychedelics get you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
another thing that's got me, which I take it based on your lifestyle that you're probably not so into psychedelics, huh?
I am someone I'm a big fan of weed. I love weed,
Really? Okay.
but I also man, I don't know. I had a moment where I was like I can't imagine smoking weed can be at all healthy in the long run.
I agree with you 100%. Smoke, because any kind of smoke inhalation, man, there's no way that's great for your lungs. I
That's
agree
what I'm saying.
100%. And me,
Yeah.
I almost don't like to want to say this, but everybody says weed's not addictive, right? I was so fucking addicted to weed that you couldn't even believe it. It was so hard for me to quit that it was physically painful. Like, so
Yeah.
that's another thing, man. But I started smoking when I was 12, so my brain
Oh
kind of
shit.
yeah, my brain kind of developed around weed in a way that yeah, I do not recommend weed for children, man. Fucking wait till you're
No, no,
21,
no.
kids. Wait till you're 21 at least.
Yeah, yeah. If you take nothing from this episode, that's it. Don't
Yes,
start smoking weed at 12.
because
Don't start
that's a
smoking weed at
regret,
12.
man. I mean, it was cool at the time, I guess. I don't know, but fuck, I just it hasn't been great. And when I was a kid, I used to write all the time, and I used to read. It's just I don't know. I feel like it's killed a lot of my creativity and stuff, but
Yeah.
which isn't something a lot of stoners will admit. But I guess.
It's I respect it. I am somebody like I'll take edibles. I'm a big fan of
Hmm.
edibles.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, if somebody comes out with a study that says edibles are bad for you, I most likely will stop using them too
Yeah.
because it is the upside worth the downside. It's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
If it's not, then
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do it.
If it wasn't for my job, I would still smoke weed. But you gotta make. I have to have
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
I have to have money. And I just
Money
fucking
is helpful.
yeah. But are you spiritual at all? That's another question I like to ask.
Yeah, I think I'm what you would probably call spiritual, but not religious.
Yeah.
I don't connect to any religion, but I definitely believe there is more to the world than what we see. And don't even ask me what happens to us after we die. Jeez, I'll have a meltdown if we go down that road.
Right.
I can't. The thing that's always gotten me is, oh, man, how when you're asleep, the only way you know you're asleep is when you wake up.
Right.
You don't know you're asleep until you wake up. How do you know you're dead?
Yeah.
Like what is nothingness forever like? Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and like, what was it? What was it? People say, I think when you die, it's like when before you were born. I hear that sometimes. What was it
Yeah,
like before you were born? Like, honestly, man, what was it like right after you were born? You don't remember
that's what I'm
that.
saying.
So,
Yeah,
what
that's what
was
I'm
it?
saying. I
What
don't
was it really like before you were born? Nobody knows.
that scares me.
Oh,
Nothingness
fucking
forever.
terrifies me. Terrifies me.
But yeah, I would say I'm spiritual. I'm not
Okay.
religious. I definitely believe in more than what we see.
Something I think that's really interesting, and everybody I've talked to has had that same answer. And so, kind of I think that's really interesting. I think it's interesting that so many people are disillusioned with religion as it is, but
Mm.
there's still something that people are connecting with out there. And I think that's really cool. And that's why that's why I feel like I relate a lot to Buddhism because I feel like there's a lot of it kind of because you can be Buddhist but also still see any other religion. You know what I'm like? Buddhism doesn't contradict any religion. It's not really. I don't know. So, anyways, that's just something I've noticed.
I dig it. I dig it. I think humans are looking to feel guided,
For sure. For sure.
right? And I think the more uncertain the world feels, the more you're looking for certainty. And one of the ways to find certainty is to find guidance. And one of the ways to find guidance is spirituality or religion. So it makes logical sense from that perspective.
Hmm.
The last thing you want is to imagine that you're floating on a rock through space by yourself.
Yeah, that's for sure. And
That's heavy.
I gotta say, I think most people are scared. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but I think most people are scared. I know I am. I'm fucking terrified, dude. Like of
What are
death.
you scared of?
Well, just death, just like you said, the uncertainty, the nothingness. Who knows? You know what I mean? Most people just try to avoid that all the time. I think that's, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. I don't know.
The hard part is you'll never know until you know.
And then it's too late to tell anybody. That's the.
And then it's gonna be too late.
But yeah, interesting. So you got any other hobbies besides podcasting?
I do a little bit of rapping.
No shit. Cool.
Yeah. I look back and I've been writing since I was like 15. I never knew. I always thought it was poetry, but I remember AOL Instant Messenger?
Yeah, sure.
How old are you?
24.
Yeah, no, you don't remember AOL Instant Messenger. You just lied straight to my face. You lied. There, for those younger humans out there.
I know what it is. I've heard of it enough to know, what it is, but you can explain it if you want.
I don't even know if I can. How do you explain that? Right. It was back in the day when you had dial-up internet, you would talk to people through chats on your laptop through AOL. And I remember one of my buddies and we were chatting back and forth, and we started rhyming words. And it would be, I would say cat, he would say bat. And then it got to the point where I was rhyming like 4-syllable words and he couldn't. And I remember thinking like, dude, how hard is it to take a word and make it sound like this word? Like, it's not that hard. And then I started writing after that. And at some point in this wild life, I would like to write some level of album and release an album at some point. It's just a matter of how committed am I to that, and how much do I actually want to do it?
Do you ever record yourself? I take it if you,
Yep.
You get beats and all that. You ever do like the produce it, mix it together? You ever get that?
I don't know enough about the mixing. Like I literally download a beat, I sit
go over it.
I just go over it.
That's the cool thing about rap, man. Is it can you can do that. That's really cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. So
I need to find a producer at some point, connect with a producer and say, hey, how to make this sound like an actual song.
No, that's cool. Yeah. When I was like I said, when I was in high school, I wrote a lot. When I was in high school, dude, I thought I was gonna be a rapper. Like if you it wasn't even a question. Like like you said, I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have nothing. I was gonna be a fucking rapper. That's what was gonna happen. So I get that. I filled up notebooks. Like that was my shit. So I get.
You remember any of it?
No, dude, I can't. Not even kind of, sort of, kind of. Could I ever? I don't even like rap anymore, honestly. But
really,
yeah. But when I was a kid, that was my shit. But I can't write for shit now, dude. I try to think of it as poetry now, and fuck, dude, I can maybe get a couple lines out, but they're more song structure, than a rap.
Do you write in? I don't know how to write outside of rap. Like if you said, Kev, I'll give you $1 million to write a rock song, I wouldn't even know where to start. I have no idea how it works. I know rap. You hit on the beat, syllables.
That's fair. I get it.
But how do you write a rock song?
That's a good question, man, because there's lots of theories and all that to it, but there's not. That's a good question, man. You got my brain spinning here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just really hard to put into words, I guess. I listen to a lot of rock, so when I quit listening to rap is when it kind of, because when I first started getting into rock, I was kind of the same way. I was like, I could never write that, though. I don't understand how that works, but then I quit listening to rap, and now I could never go back to rap. But I listen to it every once in a while. I don't say I don't like this. It's more of a nostalgia thing for me nowadays,
What threw you off? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Simple Man by Leonard Skinner.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can't even really explain it to you, man. I still liked rap after that, but it was just like a slow decline after that, And then one day I noticed I was skipping all the rap songs in my playlist. So I was like, I'm just going to go through and delete them all. And it killed most of my playlist, but I just started fresh. But yeah, Simple Man, I was like, the first time I heard that song, I was tears running down my face. I was like, got to change the way I'm living, man. You know what I mean?
I do. The Shine Down version of Simple Man for me was like, good. How do you sound like that? Like,
Yeah.
how are you a human being who has that level of voice?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's how I feel about the original. I feel like, I
Yeah.
mean, I like the Shine Down one, but man, Ronnie Van Zant, his voice, like it just does something to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Love that guy.
Music.
Yeah.
Music's a hell of a drug. I mean, music
Oh
is.
yeah.
You
I
ever
love it.
met somebody who doesn't like music?
No, never. Well,
I don't know
no,
if it
never,
exists.
never, never.
Does that exist?
No. What
It's
kind
like,
of music
do
do you
you not
listen
like
to?
food?
Yeah,
Oh
right.
man,
I think it's just
I
like food. It's it's nourishment. Nourishment.
yeah. And then there's categories of it. It's like, well, I don't like fast food. I like this. It's like, well, I don't like
Right.
rap. I like this. I like rap. I'm a big fan of rap. I love rock. I love heavy metal.
What rappers do you listen to?
I listen to NF, Futuristic. Who else do I listen to? It really depends. Like the majority, I don't really listen to music outside of the gym.
That's
So it really
interesting.
depends.
Okay.
But I'm a weirdo, Trevor, where I'll literally listen to like acoustic music in the gym. I just need something that moves me
No,
emotionally.
I get it. I get it. I get that 100%.
So I'm all over.
How often do you go to the gym?
It's probably like 6 days a week. I
No
try to go
shit.
6 days a week.
No shit. That's
Yeah.
I am one of the most unhealthy dudes ever, and I keep telling myself, got to do something, man, because I'm 24 and I got the body of like a fucking 60-year-old man. It's embarrassing. Oh, it's terrible.
It's
So
hard.
have you
man.
always gone to the gym like that?
Yeah, I'm 5'5", 5'6" on a good day. I could never get taller.
Right.
And
I get that.
I knew that.
I
But
get that.
I
5'8",
I
so
started lifting when I was like 16.
okay, that's cool. Yeah, I took a weightlifting class in high school, and I guess I liked it. I don't know. I don't like going to the gym so much, and equipment is expensive for the home. Thought about getting a treadmill, but
Yeah.
excuses. There's just 100 excuses.
There's got to be a bigger goal than just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's the hard thing.
that makes sense. That's actually really
You
good
know?
advice for a lot of things. Like, that's really good advice. Hell, shoot.
It's got it. It's the reason we got to 1,850 episodes was not because we said hopefully one day we'll get to 1,850.
Right.
That has nothing to do with it. It's because we want to have the most successful self-improvement company on the planet. That's what you have to do in order to accomplish the goal.
Right.
That's a piece of it that I've seen for a lot of people is like, it's not for me. It's not about this episode. This is part of the flow of the day, which is part of the flow of the month, which is part of the year, which is
Right.
part of my life. It's not about this episode. It's about everything else too.
So you guys consider yourself a self-help podcast or a self-help thing?
Self-improvement, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of got that vibe from it, but I don't know, it flowed better than most of self-help things have heard in my days, So I guess that's good. That's a compliment.
It is. Yeah, I appreciate that. We try to, I don't know. I'm a weirdo where like I really want to get better every day and I really want to get smarter and I want to be the best speaker I can be and I want to be all these things. But if Friday night hits and I want a large triple shot of whiskey, I'm going to have a large triple shot. That's what I want to do. I don't want to get to the point where I villainize everything that isn't optimal for you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'll be miserable if I do that. And that's the approach we try to take when it comes to self-improvement is, look, I know there's a lot of podcasters listening that might say, okay, I want to do what Kevin is doing. You might not. I know it looks really cool, but working 13 hours a day, essentially every day, my business partner works like 15 hours a day, every day. I don't know. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that you might not actually enjoy.
Yeah, no, like I said, I have found this to be a lot of work. I initially was going to do an episode every week. I found it's been about 10 days I'm trying. It's fucking hard, but yeah, 13 hours. See, I put a cap. I decided I'm not going to work more than 12 hours a day. But also that's toward like a job, I guess. So it might be, I guess it's a little different when it's something that you're actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I get to work from home. So
Yeah,
like
that
my
helps.
studio's at my house. I don't have to leave
I'm a
if I don't
driver.
want.
I'm a driver, so I guess that's a lot. I don't want to drive more than fucking 12 hours a day. I couldn't do the
Understandable.
over the road shit. That's insane to me.
Yeah, understandable. You know that one of the interesting things, I don't know who it is. I was on YouTube one day and there was a a vlogger who's an over the road driver. And he has like a massive YouTube channel and he
Hmm.
just takes you through his day and shows you him cooking his meals and
I've
playing
seen
PlayStation in the
I've seen
back.
that too, and I'm like, why do you keep
Wild.
doing it? Why? Because I know you're making enough YouTube money to fucking not have to do that
Yeah.
anymore. But I guess it's just cake on top of cake, or
You
gravy.
think he loves it? You think he loves driving?
I mean, it is a lifestyle that there are people get into, and over the road. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It really is. I mean, I just I couldn't do it, man. That box, I don't know, man. I like my house. That's it, really.
Yeah,
And I have,
understandable.
like I said, I got my fiance. I got my dogs. I got stuff that I like having a spot to come home to. I like that. So
Yeah, yeah. What's something that somebody So I used to drive. I drove a 20-foot flatbed, but it was
okay.
like around New England, a couple out 2 hours, whatever. But in
Hmm.
Boston, we drive in the city. But what's something that somebody hasn't driven as much as you have would never guess about the lifestyle of being a driver?
That's a good question. So I drive a big truck with 53-foot trailer.
Okay.
What's something people wouldn't know? That's hard to know. I've been driving since I was 18, so it's a hard one
How'd
because
you
I
get
don't
into
actually
it?
know.
How'd you get into it?
Well, that's a good question. I can answer that one a hell of a lot easier than the other one. My grandpa or my dad was a truck driver until he got too many felonies and can't do it anymore because he can't get the
Mm.
license. My grandpa was a truck driver. I always told myself, ain't no fucking way in hell I'm gonna do that. That's hell. Fuck. No. I got a really cool job when I was 18, trimming trees, doing tree work. Climbing trees was more my thing. I climbed the trees. But my boss said, if you get your CDL to drive these big trucks to and from the jobs, I'll give you a raise. I was like, bet. So I got the license. And then when I lost that job, I'm in a town with 2,000 people. Like, my options were from my options were like a gas station. Hope I get lucky, find another really cool job somewhere that's hiring, the grocery store,
Yeah.
or drive. So, I drove and found out you can make a lot of fucking money doing it. My next boss said he'll give me a raise if I get the bigger license, to drive the bigger trucks. So I did that. And then from there, somebody offered me $100,000 a year to drive a truck. So I was like, cool, bud.
Interesting.
Yeah. So here I am, 24
You
years
think you'll
old.
do it? You
I
think is that the thing
I
forever?
hope not. Oh, I hope not. I hope not. But I mean, it's a good fallback. You know what I mean? It's something I can always come back to, I guess. But dude, I want to be a rock star, man. I want to play in a band. I want to do this podcast. I don't have. I'm not, like I said. I don't know. I have.
I love.
I have high aspirations for the podcast, but I'm not like. I mean, there's so many fucking podcasts out there, man. I'm not.
No, there's less than you think. Get that shit out of your head.
Well, so here's because I've done a lot of research on it, man, and there's a lot of podcasts, but then there's not a whole lot of podcasts that have gotten past the third episode, and then even less
Right.
that have gotten past the 10th episode. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going until I have so many fucking episodes they can't deny me my spot.
That too. That was our
Yep,
strategy. That was like,
that was what I was. Yep.
we'll
So
just do episodes forever, and
hell
then
yeah,
eventually
yeah, something.
somebody will listen. That was
That's
it.
where I'm at. So
I dig it.
that's exactly my mindset. But it's at the same time, it is a lot of fucking work. Do you guys ever do guests on your podcast?
We did for the first like 4 years. We had a bunch of guests on, and then I don't know. We got to the place where, man, how do I say this eloquently? There were a lot of guests that we've had some amazing guests that are awesome, and now they're friends, and
Right.
They're wonderful humans. We had some other guests that were just one way in front of the mic, and then the second the episode ended, they were just different,
Hmm.
entitled,
Weirdo.
rude, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
was. And then we had the conversation of, do I really want to perpetuate this person's message knowing that they're not the person that they showed on the microphone?
Right.
And then we
That's interesting.
decided no. We had two really big guests, and one we recorded the episode and never dropped it. And then the other person we had scheduled, this is somebody who has a couple million followers on
Mm-hmm.
all the platforms, and we canceled it like an hour or two before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not doing this. This is, we can't do this. And then that was it. And then we never had guests again.
You're my sixth episode. I haven't had that experience yet. I really hope I don't. That sucks.
I hope you don't. I hope you don't too.
Did you have your guests? Did you do like in-person guests, or did you do like this?
We
Or
did both.
mixed?
So yeah, there were times where we had the opportunity to travel. So like I live on the East Coast. We went to California and we interviewed a bunch of people that we knew, and
That'd be cool.
we had a studio. Sometimes people would come. So it was a
Mhm.
kind of a mix of both.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I hope to eventually get in-person guests, but I don't have the nicest space yet. I just bought this house. It's still pretty new. Not
Yeah.
new. It's a piece of shit, but it's new to me. I'm still getting it fixed up. But
Studio space is cheap.
is it? I don't know. I've never even looked.
We're-
I've never even looked.
we're
I
paying-
never even thought
yeah.
about looking.
We were paying like $500 a month for
Oh,
a studio.
it's not bad.
I just
know.
never wanted anybody to come to my house. It's like,
I get that.
what are we
I
gonna?
get
I,
that.
I don't want to be inviting people to the house. That gets dangerous at some point,
No, I get that. I get it. Especially strangers. Yeah, that's a good point. Because,
right?
yeah. But, I don't know. I'm in a place. I mean, like I said, I moved to a bigger city, but I didn't move to a big city. So, there's not that many interesting people around me. I mean, that's why I'm having to do, you know, and I don't know, dude. I'm terrified of the big city, like the big city. It scares me. It really does. I don't know.
What's
where-
the biggest city to you? Denver?
Yeah, it's the biggest one near me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not as scared of Denver as I mean more like Los Angeles is what I'm scared of, but
Oh, okay.
I am Denver, man, the traffic is mostly what the
Yeah.
traffic will fucking just destroy me. I know it will. You know what I mean?
It's surprising for somebody who's a driver. You
Well,
feel
that's
like you,
why it would destroy me because I have to drive all day. I have to sit through it all day, man. The town I'm in now has got about 100,000 people, maybe a little less, and the traffic's getting to me. It's getting to me.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Like I said, it's not bad if I don't have to, like on my days off, it doesn't bother me, but like driving home from work after driving for 10 hours and then some fucking idiot
Yeah.
cuts me off, I'm like, motherfucker.
how far is your commute?
About
Like,
20
where-
minutes.
from-
Not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad, but could be worse. Like in Denver, man, those motherfuckers be driving like an hour and a half to work every day. It's crazy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
Like I said, I don't know if you're from a big city or not, but
I was raised in a very small. I think there was like 10,000 people in our town, and then the closest big, like Boston, was an hour from where I lived. There was a city called Worcester, which I think is the second biggest city in Massachusetts. That was like 20 minutes from where I live. So
mm,
it was a small town vibe. But if you wanted to go find people, it wasn't hard.
right. And I mean, that's pretty close to New York area, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not super
Like 4 hours.
geographical. 4 hours is about how far I am from Denver, so
Interesting.
yeah.
Then Colorado's such a big.
Yeah.
It
Mountains.
feels like such a big state.
Yeah. Well, it's because half of it's nothing and then half of it is the mountains.
Yeah, that's
what I
fair.
heard, but
That's
like
fair.
4
My
hou-
wife and I, we got married in Telluride.
no shit. That's where I proposed to my girlfriend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where?
That's right.
Where did you do it?
It was just kind of off the gondola. I mean, it wasn't super. I'm not a super romantic guy. I tried really hard, man. That was me trying really hard. She says it was awesome, but I feel like she deserved way better. But what are you gonna do?
Well,
No, but Telluride, that
if-
is a gorgeous place, man. Oh my god.
yeah. My wife found it. I can't take credit, but we eloped, and then we had photographers, and it was
That's
like
cool.
the most beautiful
That was
place. But
Gorgeous.
we flew into Denver, and then we drove everywhere. So we went to Colorado Springs, and we
Oh,
went
shit.
all over the place. And it was like, hit the GPS. It's like, all right, 7 hours. We're driving for 7. I don't think there's anywhere in Massachusetts where you can drive for 7 hours.
No shit.
I don't think it works that way.
Well, Massachusetts is a small little state, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Colorado, we're just a big square right there in the middle. So,
Yeah.
but not as much as Texas. I think you can fucking drive through Texas for like 12 hours and still be in Texas.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's
It wouldn't
fucking-
surprise me.
Damn. Yeah, I haven't been to enough places. I've never been to that far of the East Coast. Farthest I've been east is Tennessee, Kentucky. I think they're right on top of each other, so it'd be.
Geography is
there.
not my strong suit.
I'm
either,
bad. Yeah,
brother.
I'll tell you
Let
what.
me tell you.
Yeah.
I don't think
really,
you're missing anything.
I really embarrassed myself talking to the guy from Portugal because I was like, "Where's Portugal?" But whatever. He asked me where Colorado was, so I guess it traded off. So
Yeah, it's even. You trade off.
yeah. Well, shoot, I gotta kind of out of questions.
It's all good, brother.
I
I
gotta
always
think
enjoy
about some more
conversations
shit.
like this.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I get to learn. I learn a ton about you, and that's always fun for me.
Yeah. No, it's cool learning about you too, man. So I feel like I wanted to ask you something that's right there on the tip of my tongue, but it's just I can't collect it.
It's gonna come. It's gonna cut. Let's just sit in silence. Just sit in silence.
That's the cool thing about podcasts is you can edit shit out.
Yeah. We almost don't edit anything.
You probably have to with your freaking doing it every day.
Well, it's
I
even in the
still,
beginning.
like-
It was. I don't want to. The
Okay.
thing that I've always thought about is you can't make edits on stage.
That's
It doesn't
true.
matter.
That's true.
You can't make edits on stage. You got to be able to do it in real life.
When you started podcasting, were you like? Do you think you were a good speaker already when you started podcasting?
Absolutely not. Oh God,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Okay.
No, I had no previous speaking experience. Like it's not even like I went to college and spoke in class or
Mm-hmm.
no. I think I was a deeper thinker than the average man, maybe. And I believe I thought about things in a very unique way, but how effective was I in communicating them? Not very. No, not very.
Okay. Yeah, when I was in high school, I talked all. I was a pretty good public speaker, I guess, but I started driving truck, man, and that is one of the most seclusive. I forgot how to freaking talk to people. I really did. And nowadays, the only guy I really talk to at work is his name's Ray. He's cool. I'm gonna have him on the podcast eventually because he's cool as shit.
Nice.
But he's from England, so he's really freaking cool to talk to, and he's got badass accent.
Is he a driver?
No, he's just what does he do? He sorts my load for me. That's what he does. But he just gets to bullshit, and he's a talker, so I let him talk. Cause
Shout
I'm
out to
like,
Ray.
Yeah, I'm like, go for it, man. I need people to talk to. But well, we're at 45 minutes. So, what? You said you never went to college?
No, sir.
Never went to college. Hell yeah. You never even wanted to or nothing because you were going to do MMA, huh? So, how did you get into MMA? Tell me about that. That's where we're going to go. Let's go talk about MMA.
Man, I found UFC.
Is that?
I don't know. Maybe.
Sorry, not to interrupt. I know you just started, but
Oh, you're good.
is that how you got into Joe? Is that how you kind of got into Joe Rogan too, or because that's okay. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. I don't know. At some point, I found UFC. So I used to be a real big wrestling fan, like WWF back in the day.
Okay. Oh, that's way back in the day, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I used to be a really big fan. From the time I was young, I wanted to be a professional wrestler for a time. I wanted to be a stuntman. And then I found UFC. And I was like, wait. That is where it's at.
Cooler.
Like that's
way cooler.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's real shit right there. And there was a delusional part of me that's like, I could do that. Like these guys aren't that good. I could probably do that.
I get that.
Right. And it was the early 2000s when I first started watching it, I think. So it wasn't nearly as developed as it is today. My grandfather was a professional boxer and my great grandfather was a professional boxer.
Okay.
So it's in the family.
Right. That's cool.
I Googled where the nearest martial arts gym was, and that was it. I was off to the races. I was going after school at night, and then after high school, I went to a different gym, and I would work from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the gas station. I would go home, I would change, then I would go lift weights for like an hour and a half. I'd go home, I'd eat dinner, and then I'd drive a half hour to jujitsu, and I would do like 2 hours of jujitsu every night. And that was my life for like a year.
Okay. So,
and it was awesome.
I bet. So, jujitsu, or did you split out into other branches, or kind of what's your style? Do you think? How would you describe your style?
Oh man, I did more jujitsu than anything, but I've been practicing boxing and kickboxing on my own for a long time.
Okay.
So I would say I'm probably an above average boxer and kickboxer.
Okay.
And yeah, honestly, I'm probably better at that than I am jujitsu. I'm a pretty good wrestler because I'm strong and I'm short and I'm compact.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm probably not gonna be throwing up any flying arm bars anytime soon on anybody.
Right on. Yeah, I've always heard jujitsu's a really good like meditation. Like a lot of spiritual like guys who are into meditation are really into that stuff too because it's a really good.
Yeah. People love to get high and go
Yeah.
grapple. There's like something to that.
Yeah. So that's cool, and I like it because I've never done it. It's something I've been wanting to get into. I've been looking into one guy I'm in my band. He does jujitsu on Tuesdays. I've been looking to go start with him. Been wanting
Do
to.
it.
Yeah, because well, like humans want to fight. That's it. But I've never been a violent guy. I'm not. I mean, like when I was a kid, I was really angry, so I fought all the time. But growing up, when I shed the anger, I realized I don't really want to fight. That was just me being pissed off at the world.
Yeah.
But
well, there's something about like, so I was going recently, and I don't have the time. I don't have the time like I used to. But I would go in the morning, and it would be me, who is a white belt, coming back as a white belt, against just a bunch of black belts who could just do anything that they wanted to me. And there's this really unique human feeling of this person could kill me if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like I don't know why I enjoy that, but there's a piece of me that enjoys the fact that like I'm just going to try to survive against this person. I'm not going to win. I know that. I'm not delusional enough to think I'm going to win.
And that's why martial arts is cooler than that's why I'm interested in martial arts, because it's that kind of people want to fight, people want to do that and stuff. People want to, but it's in like a way of connecting almost instead of a way of just being pissed off at each other. So I'm 100%. Interested in it, but got a lot of fucking irons in my fire, but there's a lot of shit there's a lot of shit I say I want to do, but I guess that's kind of what makes a podcaster a podcaster. I don't know.
Well, I hope you'll do that. And if you do, reach out.
Well, okay, yeah, hell yeah, I'll reach out. But yeah, he's been trying to get me to come too. I just got to do it. Got to do a lot of things. So, but
I'm excited for you if you do it. There's one of the things about martial arts in general, but particularly jiu-jitsu, is the community. There's just a really good community aspect depending on what gym you go to, where there's people that have been doing it for 20 years that can teach you something in 5 minutes that changes the way you look at everything. And it's just a lot of the gyms I went to, at least, everybody was super humble, super welcoming. It was a really good experience.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, you're making me want to. You're convincing me. Don't worry, man.
I'm selling it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I want to ask you. I know we're on the fitness thing, but that's because I'm such an unhealthy bastard, man. I need a push. So, what's your diet look like? What does your diet look like? Does your diet match your fitness lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm a weirdo. Today, essentially, I had, you know what cream of wheat is? You ever heard of cream of wheat?
Yeah, I have. I'm not lying this time, I promise.
I had that for breakfast.
That's nice.
So I had cream of wheat, peanut butter, and you literally just saw me drinking my protein shake. Okay. That's my breakfast. And then I won't eat anything until like 6 or 7 tonight. I'll have ground beef, rice, veggies, and that's pretty much my entire
So
day
bad.
of eating in a
Okay.
nutshell.
I've never
Yeah.
had cream of wheat. Is it any good? Is that like a sweet thing? I know I've seen it,
I
heard
don't.
of it. I don't really.
Yeah, it depends on they have different flavors. Like they have Cinnabon, they have banana.
No shit.
I
Okay.
I love it, but it's because when I was doing bodybuilding competitions, that was like the best thing I got to eat all day. So I always looked forward to it. So I think I'm a little bit trauma bonded to it,
That's
probably.
cool. That's cool. I have stuff like that. Right on. So you eat red meat then, huh?
Of course.
Okay, interesting. Eat a lot of red meat.
I'm not scared. I'm not
Okay.
scared.
I've just been reading a lot. Man, I eat a lot of red meat. Like a lot of fucking red meat. I've been reading a lot of things that people say everybody, or like doctors will say, everybody they know that comes in and has colon cancer in their 40s eats a lot of red meat. So I'm like, fuck, maybe I need to cut that out.
Yeah, it's dude, I don't know. The internet is a strange place where
Yeah,
you
and I
hear
read a lot
stuff,
of shit, but I need
right?
to.
And again, I'm not a doctor. I didn't even go to college, so don't listen to me when
I
it comes
know.
to health advice. But I don't know. It's yeah, you just got to be careful where you take advice from, you know?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you probably could find an article that says red meat's really good for you too if you wanted to.
1,000%. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I said, I eat a
1,000%.
lot of red meat, but I eat like fucking hamburgers and steak and shit, so my shit ain't healthy. But like a
I don't
big,
see anything wrong with steak. I mean,
like
it's
a big
higher
buttery,
fat,
a
but
big buttery ribeye, fucking 3 nights a week is probably not the best.
yeah, maybe 3 nights a week's a
Okay,
little
that's
lot. But again,
exaggerating. I can't afford that, or I would. That's too expensive, man.
it
Fuck.
does get expensive. Yeah,
Groceries, man. Shit's unreal these days. I don't know what it
life is
looks.
expensive,
I
brother.
don't know what it looks like where you're at, man, but inflation has hit my little corner of the world very fucking hard.
Same. Yeah,
Very
same.
fucking
Same.
hard.
Massachusetts, up here, New England is like a very expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Massachusetts, I think, is one of the most expensive places,
Is it?
maybe top 5 in the country to live. I think.
Is it?
I think so.
I want to say the same thing about Colorado, but I honestly don't know. So I'm just pulling
Yeah.
that out
Well,
of
just
my
make it.
ass.
You're a podcaster,
Yeah,
Trevor, so you can just make up
that's
anything
it.
and say
Yeah,
it.
that's
And
right.
welcome to podcasting.
Correct me. Come if anybody's listening and wants to correct me, please do. It won't hurt my feelings at all. At all. Well, right on, man. I really appreciate you coming on the
Of course,
show.
brother.
I'm gonna take a leaf out of your book. I'm gonna try to edit this as little as possible. There's gonna be some awkward silences in there, so
I
but
challenge
I'm gonna
it.
do
I
it,
think
man.
that's the best way to improve.
You what did you say? You inspired me to do that. So
I appreciate it.
where can people find you?
Everywhere. Yeah. So our podcast, Next Level University, is on all the platforms. We're on YouTube. And then my handle on Instagram is at Never Quit Kid. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever it is, do not hesitate to reach out. I do my own messages. So if I can help in any way, please use me as a resource.
Sweet. Right on. Anything else you want to say before I let you go?
I appreciated this, man.
Yeah.
I'm
cool.
glad you're podcasting. You remind me a lot
Appreciate it.
of younger Kev.
Cool. Means a lot.
Which makes me feel like an old man. And the fact that you didn't know what AIM was makes me feel like an old ass man as well. But
well,
no, I appreciate it. You're a good dude. I love the energy. I appreciate it, and I look forward to reconnecting in 100 episodes.
I hope we do. No, yeah, I'm gonna have you back on. I hope. Anyways, so
Done.
Got your email. Right on, man. Appreciate it. That was Kevin Palmieri, everybody. Super cool dude. Go check out his podcast, Next Level University. And just thanks so much for listening, man. I appreciate you. I love you. Have a beautiful day.